I'm Pat Mahlangu, founder and CEO of Lerato Agency and Pattern Brands. I never considered myself a game changer until people started saying I'm changing the game. So Pattern Brands is a digital media platform that I started also when I still at varsity as a passion project of mine. At the time, it was just a blog. I used to review brands by giving them pats and slaps. So over the years, the platform has evolved to now being one of the most recognized media platforms in our industry. When I say our industry, I'm referring to the marketing and communications industry. So we have our own series of events that we started under the Pattern Brands banner called the Pattern Brands Dialogues, where we really hosted captains of industry, people that have journeyed long before us in this marketing and communications industry to come in as storytellers, and in the audience we'll have young professionals and entrepreneurs. Then again, that was in 2019. More recently, we also started our own podcast, so the Pattern Brands Podcast, with the sole purpose of actually answering branding questions about marketing and entrepreneurship. And more recently, the one project that's keeping everyone in the team awake at night is the Pattern Brands Top 16 Youth-Owned Brands Awards. So the purpose of the Pattern Brands Top 16 Youth-Owned Brands Awards is to recognize and empower brands that are owned and run by the youth. So persons between the ages of 18 and 35. So we want to say these brands also are active players in our economy, and they're making a contribution. They're employing people, and they contribute to the positive image of the country. Mainstream sort of marketing and advertising industry awards do not recognize these people. And also we want to change the narrative around young people, that young people are lazy, they're entitled, they're not patient. But these brands are started by young people, that understand that in order to build a formidable brand, you have to be patient. It's a marathon, and they're making a contribution to the image of this country. So we want to also challenge that narrative to say young people, they call them the microwave generation. We want things now instantly, instant success, instant popularity, instant glory. And we want to challenge that narrative with these awards. I think I'm a student of my industry. I think for the past 8 years or so, I've been sort of studying the marketing and communications industry and just seeing how things are happening. And I looked at all the major awards that are hosted in our industry, and nothing caters for emerging youth-owned brands. All of them look at already established brands with big budgets and the likes. And also, it's always the industry people deciding which brands are recognized. It's never the consumer. So with these awards, those are the two things that we discovered through our research. So with these awards, they are consumer driven. So it's the public that nominates. It will be the public that decides in terms of who the winner is going to be, and that will be done through voting. The only time experts, industry experts, and esteemed entrepreneurs are involved is on the shortlisting of these brands. Another thing is that I want to bring up also is that we always talk about lack of transformation in the advertising and communications industry, and also I feel like we cannot talk about transformation and exclude young people and exclude youth-owned brands, because if you look at the already established brands that are dominant in every industry, most of them are actually global brands. And meaning that, for example, if you're a young person and you want to work in the advertising and communications industry, technically you're at the mercy of these global brands in terms of them giving you opportunity. So we cannot exclude youth-owned brands. So these global brands, what also they tend to do is that they sign global deals with global agencies. So meaning that if you're also starting out an agency in South Africa today, the likelihood that you'll get to work with a big brand or big global brand is almost close to zero. Unless we start our own brands, we grow them to become globally competitive, then we're increasing the chances of every young person in South Africa having the opportunity to work on a big global brand or starting an agency that will handle an account of a multinational brand, for example. So that's a really important thing. And in terms of creating awareness for these awards, actually we're on a massive PR drive. I mean, as you can see now, I'm on screen doing this interview with Social TV, and I just want to give them a shout out for that, because that's how the word will get out there. It'll take big media platforms such as Social TV, sharing it on their platforms and getting the word out there and people knowing about the awards, and also most importantly, taking part. You know, it's all good and well to know that Pattern Brands is hosting the Top 60 Youth-Owned Brands Awards, but it's another thing to get involved. So we want people to get involved, to nominate their favorite youth-owned brand. We want people to get involved and actually tag the big already established brands to say, guys, here's an initiative that we feel is close to our heart. It would be great that you back it, you know, because at the end of the day, it does cost money to come up with such initiatives. But the biggest thing is people just need to also follow Pattern Brands on social media, because that's where every milestone of these awards will be highlighted on our social media pages, as well as our website. So our website has almost every detail about the awards. If you like frequently asked questions, like whether you have a question like maybe what do winners get, the answer is on our website. The core of my being has always been challenging the status quo. You know, I think and a lot of times when I look back, I feel like I've always been ahead of myself or ahead of time, because looking at the initiatives that I started, some at small scale. I mean, I remember back in 2017, 2016, before like running or health and wellness became a thing amongst my demographic or amongst my peers, I championed that, and to this day I have people that have sort of now ran marathons, you know, under the banner hashtag Run with Pat. So a lot of people were not into running, were not into physical activities, and they got into that. I started a cycling club, you know, which I'm no longer cycling as much as I used to, but there's still people now cycling because of what bicycles for that matter, because they wanted to ride with Pat. You know what I mean? So although those things never sort of scaled up and I became a national hero in running or in cycling, whatever, but people's lives were positively impacted. And I think that's, I mean, if I change one life, it's better, you know, better than zero, because that means I've planted a seed, and that seed will multiply. Because if someone starts running today and they enjoy it, they'll invite other people to start running with them, and that's how we spread the ideas and also the initiative.
For more stories like these, go to www.social-tv.co.za, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on our social mediums.